before we forget, brother, we need to talk about communion. Hang on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, and you have been responsible for us to meet today. Yeah. And I know time spent with God is not time wasted.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
so He bless you for that.
Amen.
We started a couple of weeks ago to learn about prayer. And we began with, you used the reference, the Hebrews 6, 11 verse 6. But without faith, you cannot please God. And those who come to God must first believe that He is, and that He is the rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. So God gave us tools in there for us to use to come to Him and please Him. That's the whole purpose of this teaching. So we started with the seeking. And last week we dealt with faith, the principles and purpose and what faith does. And for those sake of those who are not here, I use analogy of a cell phone. That you have a cell phone and here's your cell phone. This cell phone is your prayer life. And the cell phone is dead. You can pray and pray and pray. Nobody will hear you. You want to talk to pastor. But you have his number, you're dialing, you're talking, it does not go anywhere. Why? Because there's no power. You're not connected to power. And that is the prayer life of most of us. So how are you going to get connected? You got to get a cable, and when I get the cable, I know this wall here, once I found this, in faith, I am believing that it's loaded with power, potential, sitting down. And potential is not activated unless under pressure. Once I plug the power in, I believe in faith. I cannot see the current, but I know it's coming. And once I get here, now I can dial the number and talk. So your cable is faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. You can pray all night, you can fast 40 days, you are on hunger strike. You are not doing anything to please God. That is why in our generation, most of the time we pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and hoping one day we get a breakthrough. Those people of old didn't do that. So why? That's the quest I asked God. Lord, why? And that is how He led me to this teaching. Okay. That one power is God. You call Him omnipotent, all potential, waiting for you to plug in. So today we are shifting to prayer itself. The whole idea is not to teach you how to pray, but to teach you the principles and purpose of prayer. So you will know how prayer works. Then you can apply the prayer that you know to those principles, and let's get results together. So when we meet, we all understand with one accord and move forward. And causes heaven to move on earth. Last time I said prayer is the most common universal ritual every human being practices. It doesn't matter your religion. Buddhists, atheists, even atheists pray. There are no foxes. Atheists in foxes' home. When calamity happens, 9/11, the atheists were the first to say, "Oh my God." They pray. Buddhists pray. Sikh pray. Judaism, agnostic, Christians. But we're going to restrict ourselves to only the body of Christ. And results.
It works.
Because there is no demonstration to support the argument that prayer really works. Because there are principles laid down before the foundation of the world. You see, when God created things, he created everything and created man last. He placed every principle you need to live before man. So in order to understand how prayer works, let's go back to the beginning of creation. I call it the genesis of prayer.
Are you preaching now? Or are you getting into the next message? Well, because I got to open up a new note here if you are.
No, now we are going to the beginning of prayer, how prayer originated, the origin of prayer. That's where I'm going right now. And establishing the integrity of God. When God says something, he really means what he has said. That is why we are going at the beginning of Genesis. Now I'll read just some few lines here, just to bring you to the point I'm trying to make. Genesis 1 verse 3, then God said, let there be light, and there was light. Verse 6, then God said, let there be firmament in the midst of the waters. And it was so. Verse 11, then God said, let the earth bring forth the grass, the herb, and the grass, the herb that yields seeds, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself, and it was so. Verse 14, then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heavens, and it was so. Yeah. Verse 20, God said, let the waters abound in abundance of living creatures, and it was so. 24, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to its kind, cattle and creeping things, and it was so. Now it came to verse 26, then God said, let us make man, and in our own kindness, and our own kind, and our own image, and let them have dominion over the earth. So, God established he's establishing his purposes on earth. And he's establishing who he is, how he operates. He spoke to the darkness, let there be light. And there was light. So when you are going through stuff in darkness, you feel you are in darkness. It is a platform God needs to speak to that darkness for light to come.
That's good.
He spoke to the firmament, and the stars came, the sun and the stars. But the stars cannot come in water or on the ground. They must stay in that environment God called them to be. The trees cannot stay in water or anywhere else. It has to be in the ground that God called forth to be. So my point is, when God said, let something be done, he has spoken and given authority to that very, very particular thing. So he has authorized the earth that you alone can produce tree. So when you want an orange tree, you have to take a seed and sow to the ground. He commanded the fishes, the water, produce fish. And he's finished. And the reproduction continued. Throughout the stars, as you see, stars are being born all the time. Everything God said, let, it did that. So now he came to human. And he said, let us, he's speaking to Elohim, the three, to himself. Let us create man in our own likeness and image, and let them have dominion. That is the origin of prayer. Let them have dominion. So, dominion means what? You're going to have authority, rulership, governance, everything, progress that is coming to earth. You are the sole man, says, subdue the earth, have dominion. Dominion comes with kingship. It is a kingdom term. If you say dominion, it's a king exercising rulership over a territory. A kingdom is what? A king ruling over a territory, imparting his will, intent, and purpose to cultivate a culture and lifestyle that represents the king. So God is calling you king to have dominion. That's why you call him King of Kings. So in a kingdom, nothing gets done if the king keeps quiet. When the king does not speak, nothing is done. People assume everything is okay. Hey.
Oh, hello. Sorry, Trisha just took Desiree home.
I just took her home
We
because there were no
didn't
kids
think
here.
you were coming.
So,
Oh,
He doesn't want to go anywhere. He
no.
doesn't want to
Just
go
had
anywhere.
but whatever the king speaks, that comes out of the mouth, it must go to do exactly as he has spoken. So, this is the power God has given us, prayer. If you don't open your mouth, nothing gets done. To establish that, let's refer to few verses here. This teaching, if it goes a little bit above the half an hour,
It's fine.
it's fine because we need to understand this. I want to
I
finish
agree.
it today.
Yeah.
Okay. So, God said, you have dominion, which means he has given you rulership over the earth. He cannot override you to do anything for you. You have to give permission. You have the authority, but he has the power. And the power is ready for your service. I refer to few verses here, and Numbers 23, verse 19.
James, can I record you?
Sure,
Okay.
I'm recording anyway.
Okay. Then I can just listen.
Yeah,
I can go through.
yeah. Everybody has the right to record on if you want.
Well, we need the permission first.
Numbers 23,
That's better.
verse 19. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should repent. He has said it, and will he not do it? Or has he spoken it, and will he not make it good? Psalm 119, verse 89 says, forever, O Lord, thy word is established in the heavens. Psalm 138, verse 2 says, for you have magnified your name, your word above all your name. Now, name in a kingdom is something God does not play around with. Because in the kingdom, a name represents the essence of the thing. So, when God said, I am, it means that is who he is. It means he cannot change. Forever, he is. I am God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob. I am God of yesterday, I am God of today, I am God forever. So, I am the Lord. I do not change. So you are not consumed, O sons of Jacob. In order to establish that, he has to remain faithful and with integrity and holy. Psalm 55, verse 11 says, the words that go forth out of my mouth, they shall not return to me void.
That's right.
But they shall accomplish the thing that I please, and shall prosper in the things of which I sent. So, once he has spoken to us that have dominion, he cannot override it. When he does it, it makes him a liar. And the accuser of the brethren is waiting for that. if he can accuse you before God, just imagine God himself violates his principle. He can't. So, that is the foundation truth about prayer. You need to understand that. And the power that he has given to you, say, power lies, there is power in the, lies in your tongue. So use it. So with that, let's go to the purpose. What is purpose of prayer? We have to understand the purpose of God creating the earth in the first place and creating you and me on earth. God gave a mandate, Genesis 1:28, verse 26. He said, let us make man in our own image and let them have dominion over the earth. That was the idea state. It was idea. Now you come to the 27, verse 27, and say, and the Lord God created man in his own image and likeness. Male and female, he created them. That word man there is both the female and the male. And then you come to 28 and set up a mandate. He said, the Lord God blessed the man, both of them. He blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and have dominion over everything. Yeah. Now, if you realize at the time, he has not created the physical man yet. He was not speaking to you and me like this. He was speaking to the spirit man. So that power and authority was given to the spirit man. That tells us what? If you're going to pray, you have to connect in the spirit. You cannot pray in the physical and have results. Genesis 2 verse 7, that he took the dust of the ground and formed man and breathed that true, man, the spirit man, into him.
That's good.
So you are authorized, you alone are the only entity, the only creator being authorized to cause changes on earth, to govern, to rule, to develop, to do anything on earth. Yeah, and that is why when God wanted to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he had to go to Abraham. Abraham, I need to do something. I need your body. That is why he wants to sustain that family, Israel as a nation. He has to preserve them. He has to use Joseph. He has to use Moses to take them out of bondage. He has to use Joshua to raise that generation of faith for them to cross to the promised land. And even when Jesus himself is coming, he had to use a body. Mary, I need a body. You see?
Born of water and the Spirit.
Born of water and the Spirit. So the only being that has kingdom authorization to manifest heaven on earth is me and you. That's how powerful
That's good.
we are.
Absolutely.
So in order for God to establish his purposes, he had to put principles that he does not violate his own principle. And every principle he puts down is a covenant. And he said, my covenant I will not break. Psalm 89, verse 34. He said, my covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that have gone out of my mouth. Once I have sworn by my holiness, I will not lie to James. Yeah? So he has spoken it, he will do it. So then, now let's define prayer. What is prayer? If I ask anyone, what is prayer? have to get a definition for prayer. Other than that, what do you pray? Why do you pray? Prayer is what? Communion with God in the Spirit. John 4:24. It said, God is Spirit, and therefore his worshippers must worship him in spirit and in truth. Prayer is to be in full agreement with God. When we are praying, there are two types. One is we want God to do something for us, or we interceding for people, or it's coming from us. And the other is God wants to manifest something on earth through you. So he causes you to pray. Because he has the power, he does not have the authority. You do. You see? So there has to be agreement. And that agreement is when I take the plug and plug it in here, there is agreement, mutual agreement, and current must flow. Current has to flow. Once faith is connected, you are in agreement with God. Prayer is man giving permission for heaven to influence the earth according to his purpose. That's prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer is allowing the will of God to be done through your will. Jesus said, when Jesus was about to go to the cross in the Garden of Gethsemane, he went to pray. And he said, Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass away. But it is not my will.
That's good.
Let your will be done. Prayer is allowing God's will to work through your will. Put your will aside and let God will manifest through you. That's prayer. Prayer is calling forth in faith what God has already accomplished. When God reveals something to you, he just wants you to come in agreement with you. He has already accomplished it. So you pray. Prayer is bringing forth in faith what God has already accomplished. So it means what? Bringing eternity into time. Because God does not operate in time. He operates in eternity. But we are confined in space and time. Everything you see physical is space and time. Now, next week, we will go deeper on giving with that. You remember that? You remember the Canaanite woman in Matthew 15:17-22. Canaanite woman who her daughter was demon possessed. And he came to Israel and said, Lord, help my daughter. She's demon possessed. And Jesus did not mind her. And she kept crying, following the disciples. And Lord, send this woman away. She's disturbing, she's crying. Then Jesus told the disciples, told the lady, I did not come but for the lost sheep of Israel. And it is not good for me to give the food that is for the children to little dogs. And the woman worshiped Jesus before she said that. Before the worship, there was nothing. She worshiped Jesus. And the woman said, even the little dogs, they eat the crumbs the children have put under the table. And Jesus said, what? Your faith, let it be done to you according to your faith. So, even though what Jesus was saying that was, at that time, when Jesus was sent to Israel. And after he has left, Paul will send the gospel to the Gentiles. So it was not ready for the Gentiles to receive the power yet. But faith brought what is meant for years to come, eternity, into time. For that woman to receive something that she had to wait for years after Jesus had gone to receive, but that very moment he receives. Call for the things that are not as though they are. See, the mosquito stuff I told you. Prayer is tapping into God's immense power. Jeremiah 33 verse 3, it said, call unto me, and I will hear and show you great and mighty things you do not know. That is prayer. 3 more to go. Prayer is commanding God to fulfill your heart desire according to his will. It sounds like a bit heavy that you command God. Let's open to Isaiah 45, verse 11. Thus says the Lord, the Holy One of Israel, his Maker. Ask me of things to come concerning my sons and concerning the works of my hand. You command me. Thus says the Lord. You command me. So prayer is actually commanding God. Because by your command, we evoke the services of the angels. Prayer, that's the next point, evoking the services of angels. Daniel 9:23.
That's awesome. That's good.
Daniel 9:23. It said, okay, there you go. At the beginning of your supplication, the command went out, and I have come to tell you, for you are greatly beloved. Therefore, consider the matter and understand the vision. At the beginning of your supplication, the command went forth. That is prayer, evoking the services of angels. Hebrew 1 verse 14 tells us, are they not ministering spirits for the service of those who will inherit salvation? Psalm 91 verse 11 tells us, he will what? The angels, he will give the angels charge over you, that you do not dash your foot against the stone. But you have to open your mouth. You have to send a command, because heaven is waiting for you. So Jesus said, whatever you bind on earth, heaven will bind. Whatever you loose, heaven will loose. You have the authority, but heaven has the power.
Yes.
There has to be agreement in prayer.
Amen.
Number 9, prayer is claiming the promises and the rights you have under the constitution of heaven. Every promise he has given you here, and the one he reveals to you, he said the secret things belong to God, but those things he has revealed to man belongs to us. So when he reveals something to you, it is up to you to speak it out, because by speaking it, you are claiming it. And the devil knows he cannot do anything about it. Once you're acting in faith, he knows. But you have to speak it in prayer. And the last one, prayer is worshiping and giving thanks. Philippians 4, verse 4 to 7. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to all men. The Lord is at hand. Be anxious for nothing. Remember what he's saying here, be anxious for nothing, which means you cannot go to prayer having doubt, having stress, anxious, and heaviness on you. When you are doubting, fear comes in. Fear produces all those things. So it said, be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your request be known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and mind through Christ Jesus. Prayer is giving thanks and worshiping. Then, you cannot talk about prayer without a fight. You can't talk about prayer without a fight, because the devil, his aim is to fight you. So the Lord said, what does it mean when I say the battle is not yours, it's the Lord's? What does that mean? In 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15 and 17. 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15. Here is King Jehoshaphat, and the army has surrendered Jerusalem. And they say, get the choir. Let the choir lead. And once the choir starts singing, the enemy turns against themselves.
Hey, they did it. Yeah.
Faith will do the ridiculous. So, he said, the Lord told Jehoshaphat and said, do not be afraid nor dismayed because of the great multitude, for the battle is not yours but the Lord's. You will not need to fight this battle. Position yourself, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord who is with you. So, when God said the battle is not yours, what does that mean? What does that mean? The battle is not yours. Number one, there is bound to be a confrontation. As long as you are a child of God, there is bound to be a confrontation. And you say God is a spirit, he's not man. And the battle belongs to him, which means the fight is not going to be in the physical, it is in the spiritual realm. There are two opposing sides that are fighting, but you are on the winning side. And because there are battles, there is bound to be what you call rules of engagement. So, to understand this battle, we must also understand the protocols God put in place that guarantees his purpose. And that guarantees victory. When you get into that, the battle is not yours. So therefore, God is a purposeful God. Everything he created with purpose in mind. Just like how we do things. I mean, no manufacturer creating this tablet, Samsung, had something in mind, and they planned it on the table, they drew it, everything, before even the parts were made, before putting everything together. That's how God works. They say, many are the plans in a man's heart, but the Lord's counsel will prevail.
Yes.
Psalm 33 verse 11. Psalm 33 verse 11. It said, the counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. So there has to be rules, principles, and protocols put in place that will guard those purposes. In order for him to remain faithful, holy, and with integrity. So, which are the rules? you should know who you are and the authority you have as a son of man and a son of God. You see, those who are as long as you are born by a woman, you are son of man. Jesus was son of God. He came down to be son of man, to teach us, son of men, how we can operate as sons of God. Because without sons of God are those who are led by the Spirit. Yeah. These are the sons of God. You cannot operate to bring heaven to manifest on earth through you in son of man. The people on the earth, outside the body of Christ, he said, they cannot have the Holy Spirit. No. But you will have the Holy Spirit. It's a promise. Once you believe, he seals you with the promise of the Holy Spirit. So by faith, you have the Holy Spirit, and you have the same power that raised Jesus from death. So why are you not using it? Rule number 2. Heaven will not act without man's permission. Heaven will not act without your permission. You have to give permission before he acts. But that is a covenant he has established with you. As you read from Psalm 89, verse 34. My covenant I will not break. I will not alter the words that have gone out of my lips. And Hebrews 6, verse 17. He said, thus God determined to show more abundantly to the heirs of the promise the immutability of his counsel, confirming by an oath, that by 2 immutable things in which it is impossible for God to lie. It is not possible. He has promised you, he has spoken to you about something, and he cannot deliver. Like I said, the day he told me I will teach his way. As Lino and Kijana, they knew me from the beginning. I did not know nothing. And that day I said, yes, sir.
That's good.
You see, he has said it, you believe it, it shall come to pass. Without a doubt. I'm a living testimony. So, rule number 3, man relinquished dominion and the glory to the devil when sin came in. So it will take a mighty power to reclaim what you have lost. Luke 4 verse 6. The devil took Jesus to a higher altitude and showed him all the glory. Say, all this has been delivered to me, and I can give it to anyone I will please if you bow down and worship me.
That's why some celebrities have a lot of money, because they sell their souls and they get all that glory.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. You see. So, he was talking to Jesus in body form when he knew, the devil knew Jesus had the authority over him, over the devil, but he will use his schemes for you to belittle you. He wants to belittle you, that you cannot stand in boldness and in prayer to claim what belongs to you. That's his schemes. And in Matthew 15, Jesus said, well, you cannot go to a strong man's house and just plunder his goods. You must help bind that strong man, and then you can take the goods. Yes. And that's what prayer will do for you. But you cannot do that without faith.
Amen.
Rule number 4. Prayer is the means of communication God has ordained for man to cause heaven to divinely move on earth. That's the communication established by God, and he will not break his covenant. So if you don't pray, things will happen. It said the ear of the kingdom, as long as he behaves like a child, he is a slave. Even though everything belongs to him, as long as you behave like a child, you are a slave. You see, that is why sometimes the churches have been so dormant. We think we don't have to be rich in here. We think we don't have to get anything here. It's the gospel of deception, I call it, because we don't understand the power that we have and the purpose that God created you. The whole idea is for Him to manifest the glory through you on earth. So when you don't do it and you die, the devil wins, because his aim, his whole idea, to stop you from showing God's glory. That's why Jesus prayed in John 17 verse 4. He said, Father, I have glorified you. I have finished the work you gave me to do on earth. So the only way you will glorify God is knowing the assignment, doing it to completion. So you can also say like Jesus, my time to go. And he said, good and faithful servant, you have done what I sent you to do to glorify my name. And then you can go to heaven. But if you follow this type of preaching that forget about everything here and just you go to heaven and you're going to work on gold and diamonds and all that, just die and go. And he goes, I came to die for you. I shed my blood for you to take you out of bondage, to redeem you. And restoration, you don't go to restoration easily. It takes faith. Because the children of Israel who did not believe, none of them crossed the Jordan. You see, it takes faith and prayer and worship. Rule number 5, faith is the channel for prayer, your prayer to channel through to the throne room of God. Without faith, we talk about this, the astronauts, the space shuttle, without the rocket, the space shuttle is just a space shuttle. Without the power cord, the phone is dead, You can pray 2 years, you're still praying.
Preach it, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still praying. You're not going nowhere. We have to understand these things and how to apply them.
Yes.
Rule number 6, faith is the shield that no weapon of the enemy can penetrate.
Amen.
Faith is the shield that no weapon of the enemy can penetrate. Let's go to Ephesians 6 verse 16. Above all, taking the shield of faith, which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. Faith. That is why the Bible says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. When you go to the Hebrew and found the meaning of the word prosper, that was used there, it means it will move away from you. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Because faith, if you're not working in faith, all the weapons will get you. Oh yeah.
That's true.
Unless God actually gives permission. Like Job, when God removed the shield, yeah. But then once he does that, he set boundary for the enemy to work. There's a boundary he cannot cross.
Yes.
And God, like I say, space and time belongs to the devil, the territory of the devil. But God does not work in space and time. So he just has to set the boundary. So, now let's go to the application. Application of prayer. People of old, how did they apply these principles for them to pray. Elisha, the verse that I was reading, that ignited all this teaching, that I asked God why. That's it. That Elisha saw something with the servants. The servant was, he said, Lord, open his eye. Why is it that Elijah prayed, heaven opened a rain fire to consume the altar, and even the water that is supposed to turn off the fire, the water was also consumed? Why is it that Jesus prayed and heaven opened and the Holy Spirit came down as a dove? You see, all these people, you can go on and on and on. You have time, just go through those stories in the Bible. All these people have certain characteristics in common during prayer, which we have to know and operate in them to be as effective as they pray. So, what are they? What I found was, number one, they all believed in faith, without a doubt. Because James, not this James though. I'm getting there. I'm not yet there, but I'm getting there. James said, but let him ask in faith. If anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all liberally without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For let not that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man and unstable in all his ways. So the devil, he knows he cannot penetrate faith. He knows that. So what does he do? It's like you're fishing, right? And throwing bait. And you're hoping the fish will see and come closer and come closer. And once it comes closer, you give a little tap and you get a fish. That is how the devil operates. He knows he cannot, faith is impenetrable. He cannot penetrate through faith. So what he does is, he wants you to move out of faith zone. And he will give you a little bit of doubt. Then you buy into that doubt. Then he sneak in the spirit of fear into you. Yeah. That spirit of fear will birth anxiety. It will birth anxiousness. It will birth heaviness. All those things. You lost the faith. That's why Jesus said, the devil has asked Simon, the devil has asked you to sift you.
Amen.
To sift you.
Amen.
He's preaching now.
Amen. Luke 22:31. It came to me.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sitting here. And I said, there's one more I'm listening
One more
for.
coming.
There are two that's come to
The
me
devil
here
has asked me to
to
sift
sift
you
you
like
like wheat.
Oh, but I have prayed.
Oh, yes.
That what?
And
You
I
do
will be
not use
strengthened.
your faith.
Amen.
And when you have
I
returned,
confirm you, James.
strengthen your
The rest
presence.
of you.
So
Amen.
I am here, the Lord speaking through me to strengthen
Amen.
you so that we can all
Yes,
walk in
James,
faith.
you're on
That's
point.
true.
Bless you, Lord Jesus. Amen. Hallelujah. This is the word of the Lord.
Number two, these people, they all pray with specific pain on the mind. They did not pray, praying about 10 things. No. Elijah prayed, he said, Lord, send fire to consume the altar. Elisha prayed, Lord, open his eyes that he can see what I see. These people prayed with specific. Jesus did all-night prayer twice in the Bible. One was when, before he chose the disciples. He had a lot of followers, but he had to choose 12. He went all-night prayer with one thing on his mind. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane with one thing on his mind. So what are they teaching us? Why don't we start practicing that? When you're going to pray, with one thing on your mind, and before you go to pray, believe, have faith, believe that thing that you are going to pray, that according to the Bible, the mind of the righteous are right. So if God has given you the thought of the righteous are right, God has given you the thought, and you're going to pray about it, believe it before you start praying. So, prayer is what? Being specific to get results. So when the results come, you will know that today I prayed and things have happened in marvelous things. And all of them, I didn't think about it, the Lord gave it to me. And they were specific. Specific. And I did the exact same thing immediately. Those things happened. Far away from me. So, all these people have specific things in mind. The next thing I found was Jesus. We talk about the praying life of Jesus a lot in the churches. Now, Jesus, every time he said he left the house early in the morning before sunrise to a solitary place to pray. He never went with the disciples. There are few times he called John, Peter, and James. Every time he wanted to isolate himself, he went with these people. And they will go to a place and say, you guys remain here and let me go and do my Father's business. He and him alone. Because prayer is what? Communion. And doubt will hinder the prayer from going where it's there. He did not, he know he's training them, but they were not there yet. They were not there yet. Because he had the Holy Spirit full measure. They did not have the Holy Spirit. So he cannot pray with them. So corporate prayer is good. But corporate prayer, there are people inside that corporate prayer, inside the all-night prayer in the church, that will hinder the prayer of the saints. Because there's no faith.
That's how Jesus was, I think, raising the dead. He asked some people to leave the room. Otherwise,
he has to cause people to leave the room in order to make heaven move. No, you have to learn. These people show us how things are done.
Yeah.
The next thing is, it's not for personal gains. These people did not pray for their personal gains. When you pray for, intercede for others, God takes care of you. So you have to learn that. That is why when Jesus taught how to pray, he said, the first thing he said, the first word was our Father. Our Father. Do not personalize God. He's not your own. You don't own him. And he's not there for you alone. But when you intercede for others, he takes care of your needs. And the next one is pray in the will of God.
I was just going to say, like James says too, when you pray in faith, when you pray you don't receive because your motives are right.
wrong.
Yes.
Right?
You are praying amiss.
That's right.
Your motives are wrong.
Yep.
That is why. So, pray with other people in mind. And in the end, you're going to complete with how you know what to pray about every day. What to pray about. Just this morning, gave you some teaching on that.
Amen. That's awesome.
And how do you know you are praying in the will of God? There is a litmus test that you have to test. If you're going to pray about something, first you want to be specific. You know exactly why you are going into the closet to pray. You believe in God that it shall be done. But test it. The results, is it going to glorify God? If the result, there's no God's glory in it, you are praying amiss. So test that and see, this thing I'm going to pray, okay, well, let's say Kijana some time ago was not well, and I was praying. Yeah? If she gets healed, is it going to personally benefit me, or is God's glory? If it is God's glory, okay, let me go into the closet. Yeah. Believing that my prayer goes forth, and when I pick up the phone the next day or so and ask Kijana, how are you doing? I am believing that I will hear positive result on the other side of the phone. Now, we shift to the prayer life of Jesus. There is a hidden secret that we do not normally talk about it. Why is it that every time he left the house early in the morning to go and pray, and then when he comes, guys, let's go to town. And then you see the blind man, eyes open, demon, come out. You see? And one time the disciples prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, nothing happened. And the guy said, where is your faith? You of little faith. Yes. How long must I be with you? Yes. Steady me. Steady me. So, how did Jesus do it? Why was it so effective? And he said, me of myself, I cannot do nothing. I do as I see my Father does. And if you believe in me, the things that I do, you will do the same. And greater works you will do. So I went to Isaiah, because Isaiah is the prophet that first prophesied about the Son of God. The Son of God is mentioned in two places. Isaiah said, unto you a child is born. Unto you a son is given. The child was born, the son was not born. The son was given to you. And that's Isaiah mentions. And you go to Isaiah 7:14. He said, God is going to do something. I don't know, but eventually is going to happen. And his name is going to be Emmanuel. God with us. And it came true. Isaiah 53, he talked about the suffering that he will go through and the victory that will come out of it. Isaiah 52.